All right, this video is for the 22 series Marantz, replacing these little bipin LED lights, selector lights, and there's a lot of videos online that are all good about replacing the fuse style ones, these old the fuse style lamps, and they're easy because they're just pop in, pop out, and there's plenty online. But there wasn't much information online about replacing these little ones, these little guys. See them? Here's the old ones here. All right, so I just wanted to clarify really quick. All of the 22 series receivers are pretty much the same. It's just a matter of space. Some have more space than others, but you got to get this little thing out here. You can find other videos to tell you how. It's pretty obvious. There's just two screws on the end, but you just have to basically get behind the lamps here. I hope I can get a good video. Where is my screwdriver here? Here, I'm over. I'll go here. You basically just have to get your soldering iron on the two poles, the left and the right, the positive and the negative, and just get the soldering iron pretty hot. There was some info online about not to overheat these lamps or you'll burn them out, but I didn't have any trouble. I tried to keep the heat pretty low, and I just couldn't get that solder to melt at all. Once I turned it up 3/4, once I turned my iron up almost to the highest, then it was just like butter getting those things out. You just have to just heat it to pop out the old ones. God, getting this frickin'... You just have to pull, put your soldering iron, and just go between the two poles and just keep tugging a little bit, just gently. Tug one side at a time, back and forth, back and forth. It takes about 3 tries. The old one will pop out. The new one has pretty long leads, and having those leads long is fine, but you just don't want them to short out on some of the other poles there. So what I did is I took my clippers, my wire cutters, and I just trimmed off 1 millimeter or 1/8 of an inch maybe, and I put a little flux on them. People don't seem to use flux, but I do. I think it just, I don't know. And you just line them up, make sure the pins are right, line them up at the new holes, start heating up the solder, and they'll pop right back in. And the only time I had to add extra solder was on the first one, when I just kept burning it up. That very first lamp over there, I kept burning it up and burned up all the solder, and then the lamp wouldn't stay, so I had to add extra solder, and that was a kind of a pain. But all the rest I did not have to add extra solder. I just popped it right back in, and then as I soldered, I kept the unit unplugged, but then I would plug it back in just to test, make sure everything had contact. Plug it in, and you can see my lights light. That old one actually still lights. I don't even have to replace it, but the LEDs are so much brighter. Just make sure you keep it unplugged while you're working on it.